Hi everyone. Today we have a wonderful textile artist from US, Emma Frisket. Let's listen from her why she came to India and how she fell in love with the Indian textile, how she developed a love for Odisha textile from her grandmother.
Hi, my name is Emma Fritschel. I'm an artist and textiles designer from the US. And I'm here in Bhubaneswar, Orissa, doing a Fulbright textiles research on the textiles of Orissa and the rest of India. I got started learning about textiles of India, textiles of the world, from my grandmother, who is a world traveler. She's been to India almost a dozen times probably in her life, and she always collected fabrics, collected textiles when she visited here, and she'd bring them back and we take them and play with them in her sewing room, and that's kind of my first experience of learning how to sew and working with Indian textiles. So that's kind of where my love of fabrics came from. Yeah, so I'm very excited and happy to be here in India today. One memory from my childhood that I have of playing and doing art and learning was I was in my grandmother's textiles sewing room, and we were, sitting at the machine, and I had something on the machine that I was sewing, maybe a skirt or a dress or something. And all of a sudden, one of the legs of the sewing table broke, just collapsed like this. And so everything started rolling off the table, including my grandmother's sewing machine, which is a big deal. It's a very expensive machine. It's, if it falls, it'll break. So I acted very quickly, and I grabbed the machine by the handle, and I saved it from, the disaster that was waiting to happen. And my grandmother still thanks me to this day for that. And we immediately went to the store later that afternoon and bought a new table that was not going to break. And you could say that I was a hero that day. Yeah. So that's one of my memories of learning and playing with textiles from my childhood. Yeah, it's been an amazing experience going to see the weavers. It's something that I've truly dreamed of for many, many years, and seen photos of, and documentaries on. But to be there in person is a very intense experience for me. As someone, as a foreigner, there's a lot of language barrier or cultural differences that I experience here, but there's something that happens when I enter a loom workshop or a dyeing studio that makes me feel like I'm home, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a home away from home, in a sense that there's a shared language that's kind of unspoken between people who work with fiber and people who make things by hand in almost any medium, but even specifically fiber. I just have a huge amount of respect for the weavers and the artisans that I've been meeting and had the pleasure of learning from, and watching them work has truly been like a dream come true to me. So I'm just forever grateful for that experience, and to be able to connect with someone who, we connect on such this intimate level, and that's come from years of sharing the same experiences, and it's been amazing. Yeah. So my artwork has a lot to do with the relationship between human hand versus nature. So how nature affects us and how we affect nature. So the often unbalanced relationship between the two. I look at a lot of things that have to do with sustainability as well. So sustainable textile practices like natural dyeing, hand weaving, all types like that, and my palette comes from a very earthy undertone, so I feel very close with the like natural and sustainable practices that I use. Yeah. Yeah. The area that I live in is very close to the ocean, so there's we used to do in school they would take us for whaling watches, so you go out on a boat and go try and spot some whales in the ocean. It's very hard to find. There are not that many whales left, but it used to be the area that I'm in is like full of whales, and so that yeah, that like handmade textile like community industry is very different. Yeah, there isn't like the rich culture of the history of textile and from where I'm from. But I'm from a community of people who we call ourselves like makers. So we do home sewing, if you will. So that's a very close community, I'd say, of people who are passionate about making their own clothes as opposed to going out and buying new clothes, making things that are one of a kind, as opposed to something that's been mass-produced. So I feel very close to that community, and everyone is amazing and creative and very generous. So it's a great community to be a part of. Yeah. When I was very young, in preschool, so 4 years old maybe. I went to school one day and I told my teacher about a dream that I had had the night before, where I'd come to school and the playground was covered in gold. And I told her about this story and, you know, went about the day. I don't really remember what happened after that. But the next day I came back to school and my friends and I ran to the playground and we found all of these pieces of gold all over the playground. And we thought it was magic, truly. We thought it was the best day ever. And my friend and I collected all of these pieces of gold and we hid them, and we put them in a treasure box and dug a hole and covered that treasure box in a part of her yard. So that's a very good memory from a very young age that I was growing up. Yeah. People are very nice. I've received so much kindness from strangers and such nice interactions with a lot of people, just you know, on the street or at Temple or at the college. So I feel very, very blessed to have those experiences and relationships. Yeah.